Hello guys, my name is Gavin, and this will be a video on how to create a sort of a pop-up screen that will display the character controls or the game controls with Python and the Blender game engine. So I'm just going to get started. To start off, what you're going to do is double click the A button to select everything and hit X and delete. Hit 7 to go in the top view and do spacebar and then add a camera. Now I'm going to drag this camera up just like this. Hit Shift and C to get your crosshair back to the middle. And hit 0 like this. And let's do spacebar, then add a text object. And let's add this text object. I'm going to drag this off to one corner. I'm going to hit the tab key to go into edit mode, so edit mode down here. The backspace to delete everything and type out controls. Hit tab to go back into object mode and hit alt and C like this. Alright. Then on this controls icon, what we're going to do is click on the physics tab, and I'm actually going to go to select Blender game right here too. And for the collision bounds, we're going to check this box, and let's do convex hull, like this. Now what we're going to do is go from defaults to game logic and go from Blender render to Blender game, like I already was. And we're going to add two things, an always sensor and a mouse over sensor like this. So a mouse sensor, and change it from left button to mouse over, because we're just going to be using this one object. I'm going to have mouse over be the name of our sensor, and I'm going to make a Python controller like this. Let's then create a script by doing templates Python and then game logic simple. Delete the portion I've highlighted. And hit Control and scroll up on your mouse to make your text larger. And let's rename this to scripts.py and add this right here. So, since we're actually going to have it where we can hover over the controls icon and display player controls, we actually have to make a simple little something that'll represent our controls. So, I'm going to open Paints, Microsoft Paints, like this. If you guys are using a Mac, I don't really know what the equivalent is, but I'm sure they've got to have one. So if you can just use that, that'll work for as well. Next, I'm going to select the paint bucket mode. I'm just going to select both the colors as black and make the entire thing black like this. Then you can see there's a letter A, and it'll have text next to it. I'm going to change both the colors over here to red. Now on our text, I'm going to click this. Actually, I'll click up here. The font size 20 will be good, and let's just create something that would represent, like, you know, what a game controls thing would look like. So let's have mouse is going to equal, or not look like this. You know, W equals forward. You know, D equals back. A left, and actually D would S would technically be back. D right. So we can now have something like that, like a simple character controls icon. And let's do File, then Save. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. Actually, I'll save it to, what would be a good idea? Desktop will work. I'll actually put it in my environment folder since I've been using that for my tutorials a lot. Images. Yeah, images. I'll just save this as game controls. Like that. I'm going to go back into here, and I'm actually going to go back to defaults for just 1 second. And what we're going to do is create a new scene by hitting the plus sign and new. And I'm going to name this scene as controls scene, like this. Hit 7 to go in the top view and do spacebar and then add a, what are we going to do? Add a camera. Like this. And I'm going to drag this up like this. Hit 0 to go into our camera view. Now let's do spacebar and add a plane right here. Drag it off, like this. Now I'm going to split the area by right-clicking when these two arrows show up and split the area. And let's do UV image editor. And let's go into edit mode like this. Hit U and unwrap. I'm going to select image and open image. I'm going to go into that folder where I saved my game controls. Select it. View it in texture mode. You can see right here, they show up like this. Alright, I'm going to go back in object mode and join the area like this. But if I hit P now, we can see we've now got this in our game like this. So this will work out well. Alright, I'm now going to go back into the game logic view. And what we're going to do is add a scene actuator. Scene like this. And I'll name this scene as overlay. And I'll connect it like this. And let's change it to an add overlay scene. And let's do control scene. Then what we're going to do is add another scene actuator. This will be called remove. And we're going to have it remove that control scene like this. So let's now go inside of our script and let's define our mouse over sensor first. Mouse over. Let's define our two actuators that we have over here. Overlay is going to equal constant actuators. Overlay. And remove is going to equal constant actuators. Remove like this. Alright. Now, what we're going to do now is have if mouse over dot positive. We're going to do constant activates overlay. And if our mouse is not hovering over our text object, what we're going to do is have constant activates remove. And also what I'm going to do right here is set the color of our text to red when we're over it. So on.color is going to equal 1, 0, 0, true, like this. And then we're going to set it back to gray when we're not hovering our mouse over. So it's just 0.8 all the way across and then true. So what should happen now is if we hit P to play, actually we can't see our mouse really quick. So from BGE, import render, then render.show mouse and then 1. So we should see that when I hover this over, it'll show this. We're actually not in texture mode right now. So we now can see our controls pop up. Alright, so that is how you make a pop-up screen in Blender. This was initially supposed to be how to do this within a main menu, but I decided that this would be probably a better way of showing it. We can hover over this, controls will show up, and it removes when we go away. Alright guys, I hope you found this useful.